Welcome to Boxcars, War Machine and Horde's supplementary podcast for War Room PL YouTube channel.
You can find us online at www.warroom.pl. You will also find our blog there. Visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/warroompl for great video battle reports. You can also like our Facebook page for latest War Machine news under facebook.com/warroompl. If you have a small meta and want to develop as a player, or just try out different lists in international environment, you can play online on Vassal. It's free, but you can support developers by donating. So welcome to episode 30 of Boxcars. I am Marcin and I'm playing Minions.
And I'm Thomas and I play Retribution of Signar. Circle Overlord, sorry.
So you forgot everything.
Yeah.
Well, nice. Today's topic is we'll be talking about Berlin Masters and tournament preparation. And probably that's a surprise for many listeners that we are not talking about Crucible Guard like everybody.
Yeah.
It's like
I'm
it's
tired
like, you know,
of this.
Yeah, exactly. You remember when you joined us and we were talking about that we are not going to talk about Trollbloods?
Yeah. Because
I get the feeling right now that we are not going to talk about Crucible Guard because just there is too much
you might
talk
be
about
so
Crucible
happy
Guard.
right now.
Well, I like how the faction looks. I will probably like the rules because after 5 or 6 weeks of CID they will get where they need to get, but we can sort it out at some point later. So that's enough about that. So next week, or this weekend, actually, there is a Masters in Krakow. That's a qualifier to
Iron Gauntlet.
I think there are still spots available. So if you can make it there, I will provide the link in show notes if I don't forget. So you can.
I'm not sure if there are spots available because the lists were already
deadlocked.
blocked.
Okay, so maybe they are not. Maybe if the tournament organizer is very nice to allow you to play, but I don't know. All right, so maybe I'm wrong this time.
Yeah, if you listen to us and you want to participate in this event, just let me know and I will do my best to convince the tourney organizer to find you a spot there.
Yeah, all right. That's that. We can go to our first topic of today. So, Berlin Masters. The name of the event was actually, it's very climactic. It's Gobber Crown. And it's from German, die letzten werden gegessen. So the last will be eaten. And I really like that event. We've been there last year, and that whole team of goblins is all around that event.
And who was the last?
The last one actually escaped.
Oh right.
he wasn't at the coronation, so we couldn't eat him.
Yeah, usually when the last guy escapes, you take another last guy.
Well, they just skipped that part of eating the last part.
All right.
Yeah, but anyway, the event was great. Thanks Live for organizing it. I hope it will be. It was the part 4 of Gobber Crown, so I hope for the 5, 6, and so on, because this is the event that's closest to my home, except our Szczecin event, because we have like 100 something kilometers to Berlin from Szczecin. This means I'm within 1.5 hours drive. I could actually sleep at home if I wanted.
All right.
Yeah, so it's very, very close, and it's a large event. So all the pluses that I can find there are for us, and for Poznan we are very close to Berlin.
Yeah, I really like the special rule for the event.
Yeah.
Like +1 to starting roll for fully painted armies. Do you
Right.
get the bonus if you already have one? Like you have Anastasia Debray
Yes.
that gives you
Yes.
+1, and you get
Yeah.
+1 for fully painted, so we have +2.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's
I mean,
cool.
the thing is, last year, this rule is continuous on this event. So last year, I have only one opponent who didn't have a fully painted army, and this year was the same.
Yeah, so it's really
So-
motivating.
It's very motivating people to paint their armies, and some of them are painted really beautifully. Especially, I saw two Green King armies that were just incredible. One of them, unfortunately I didn't make pictures of them, but one of them was made like the Green King went out of water, and so the battle
They were
engine,
fighting minions.
yeah, exactly. So there was a lot of conversions using minion models, and the driver of the cart from the battle engine, he was a modified Rusk, and a lot of the models had like mutations into fishes, or fishes sticking out from something, or
Oh man.
head swap. But it was done in such a professional way and painted so beautifully, like the watercolors coming from green to blue, and so it was really incredible. Maybe I will ask around, and somebody made a picture so I can post them on our page.
Yeah,
on
it's
our
a shame you
Facebook.
didn't.
Yeah, it's
Next
well,
time.
I'm blue. I was my whole head into the tournament, so I saw the army. I looked at it, and I thought it is a very beautiful army, and then I walked on without
Alright.
making a picture.
Right.
So
Selfish
there is that.
bastard.
Yes, I am. So it's well, if we ask around, we'll probably find the pictures of that, or maybe the owner as well.
All right. We should
Yeah,
do it
so-
and post on our page. So
Yeah,
if you're
definitely.
interested, go to War Room PL Facebook, and you will hopefully see a picture of the army there. And you listen to us, and you're the owner of this army. Please send us photos.
Oh, exactly. That's a good idea.
I'm sure no one listens to us though. So
Well, I will post the link to that podcast to the guys that were on the event. So maybe some of them will listen, and maybe some of them know the guy. So this way, maybe
We'll
get
find you.
those pictures. Yes, one or the other way. So back to talking about the event itself. So the venue we played in, it was not in the hotel. It was a kind of restaurant event hall, would say, but the restaurant was closed recently, like a month earlier. So there was only a gaming hall. So it was only gamers, only us, and we had there was no easily available like food, or so you couldn't buy you couldn't buy food.
you could
But-
always eat the guy that lost.
Yeah,
previous
the
round.
last guy. Yeah, but what the organizer live, he made a great plan for that. He bought a lot of refreshment drinks that you could buy for very affordable prices. So there was enough water, beer, and soft drinks for everybody. I think I drank like over the event 6 or 7 bottles of water, 1 liter bottle waters, and they were at the end of the event. You could still have them, so it was really well planned from live on that, and we could order for lunch pizza. So the organizer took in the orders and ordered for us. So there was no problems with that as well.
So well done, organizer.
Yeah, well done, exactly. And also as a part of the event, Life also organized hotel for everybody and for very affordable prices. So I took a double room with Rafał, and each of us paid 30 euro for one night, including breakfast. So from German standards, it's or generally European standards, it's very cheap for a hotel night. The hotel, it was Ibis budget, so it wasn't something crazy, but we finished the day at 10 o'clock, I believe. And we started next day in the morning, so we really didn't spend much time in that hotel. So it didn't matter what kind of hotel it was.
Yeah, and the live stream was there organized as well.
Yeah, exactly. So they made sure that there is a internet connection and power, and we did set up the live stream, and we had quite a few people watching. I think finals were watched by 30 people or something close to that. I didn't look during, but at the end when we finished, when I went to switch off the final stream, it was 30 people. So quite an achievement, I think. Of course, it's not WTC size of stream or PP size of stream when you have hundreds of people watching. Like WTC, I think was 270 or something people watching. But for Masters event, 30 people, I think that's nice.
Yeah.
To get. So we had the event was pretty sizable. There was 50 players, and there were 64 places. I think that there was 58 registered, or there was many more registered. A lot of people dropped before coming, and before the last day there was 58 people, but 8 of people didn't show up, or maybe dropped during. But the end results are for 50 players.
All right. And how many Crix players? 49?
No, there was only 6 Crix players.
60?
So 6.
Okay.
So overall faction representation, I took it out of the system that they were running the event on. It's tabletop tournaments, and I think the whole Germany, they all gaming or most of the wargaming system is using that system for running their events. I don't even try to imagine how it calculates things, but it assigned places to each faction. So the best faction was Legion of Everblight. So somehow Legion had the first place. Maybe it's a win percentage. I'm not really sure. And it was 4 players. And then second was Crix with 6 players. No surprise there. Then third was Kador with only 2 players. Fourth was Scorn with 6 players, but it doesn't surprise me either because Scorn is one.
Germany is known for Scorn, right?
Exactly, and
Scorn
Germany
meta.
is known for Scorn. Yeah, Dominik, one of the top German players, he was leading German Scorn meta for a long time. Last year he was playing on that tournament with Scorn. So.
And how many German WTC players from this year were there?
From
previous year?
From the ones that I know and recognize, there were 4.
4 out of 5, right?
From I don't know, they had 3 teams, so out of 15, but 4 I recognize, I because the faces and then the names also. So 4 I know for sure that were there. Maybe there were more, but from 15 people I don't know.
And do you know how many
everybody.
from the winning team?
For sure 2.
All right.
For sure 2. So, but I will talk about it when I talk about my games, and
all right.
Also a bit when we finish the factions, etc. I will tell about the luck in that tournament as well. So the score was 4th with 6 players, and the minions were 5th with 4 players, and that's probably a lot thanks to my performance on the tournament, because the other minion players didn't push that far. So then the 6th place was Trollbloods with 6 players. 7th was Protectorate of Menot with 3, and then the 8th players Mercenaries with 2 players, and 9th place Grimkin with 5 players. So it's weird that Grimkin are so low, but I will finish and then we can talk. Then 10th place is Signal with only 3 players.
This is more surprising.
Yeah, exactly, right. And then the 11th place is Circle Orbos with 6 players. This is the most surprising.
No.
And then
just wait for our CID.
If you made that for Polish tournament, the Circle Orbos would be in top 3.
Yeah.
Because the best players played. And then 12th last place Retribution was Syra with 3 players. So I wouldn't make much of that, because if, for example, I wasn't on that tournament at all, then the minions would be probably somewhere around the 8th, 9th place.
Yeah, it's so only because of you.
No, I mean, one person can change the statistics very much. And this is the same. This system doesn't say how it calculates those places, so I cannot tell for sure.
Yeah, if statistics were true, in every Polish house there would be one Chinese child. So
yeah, exactly. So that's what I mean. When we were in Norway on the conquest, there was only one Legion player. And he broke all the statistics because he won 10 out of 11 games. So he made the Legion look like they are crushing the meta because he had
they like are 90%. The meta.
Yeah, he had 90% win percentage.
Yeah,
and so I'm closely watching. I like the statistics, so I'm closely watching a lot of different statistics, OTC, ATC, etc. And there is either sky falling or everybody is rejoicing that the faction made well. But in reality, any faction you can play good and you can win, and etc. So I cannot stress this enough. I said it many times before.
The player matters.
Yeah. The player matters. The list matter. How you play them matters. But don't believe the statistics too much.
And the preparation matters.
Exactly. Preparation matters for sure. So just to sum up the tournament, it was run very smooth. There was some delays, but this is to be expected in the event when so many people are involved. And we had and the cost of the tournament was also not very, very big. It was only €30. There were a lot of prizes, very nice prizes. So thanks for the organizers for that as well. And so that's about the tournament. So I really recommend this tournament for the next year as well for everybody. This is definitely on my Masters calendar for the years to come.
Yeah, I hope to be there next year. I was really trying to.
You want to steal my crown?
Your crown? We don't know it. We don't know it yet.
No, I will spoil it a bit because it will be difficult to talk about it without spoiling it. So
I have a question.
Yeah.
Who won the tournament?
Yeah. So I won the tournament.
Oh wow!
So
what a surprise!
I'm a new Gobber king of for that tournament, and I received a crown, and you can see that picture of me wearing that crown on our Facebook page. So why did I win that crown? And I want to say there was probably many topics, of course. So of course I prepared for that for couple of months. I'm playing minions and tweaking my list, trying to find the right pair for the meta. But that's actually every player who wants to perform well in an event is doing this kind or the other. So everybody does some kind of preparation, and the level of players, this is not something so drastically different that you are crushing everybody or something. So you need some luck as well. And what I mean by luck is not only luck in rolling dice. This is useful as well. But like my luck was, for example, that I dodged Signar the whole tournament. And okay, Signar did not perform very well in here, but I'm pretty sure that I would have trouble versus the most popular list that Signar is now fielding, meaning Nemo 3 and Haley 3, and I don't know which one of them is worse. But luckily for me, Maestro was so nice and took all the Signar matchups for me. So I didn't play Signar even once, and Maestro played Signar 3 times. All the 3 Signar players he played against them. So thanks Maestro for that. So this was one of my lucky streaks, so to say, this tournament. The second one is I know 2 of the top contenders for the first place, meaning Lucy and Dominic, so German WTC players, were knocked out by bad luck and bad rolls during the game. I know Lucy was playing on a table next to me when he lost, and he lost like to a 5% assassination. That shouldn't supposed to happen by a retribution of Syra player. So I'm just shooting that it was 5%er, but it was very, very unlikely to happen. But the player didn't have anything to lose, I believe. So he went for it and won. So and Dominic said to Rafa, because he played versus Rafa, that he was a bit diced while playing his friend. So he lost and was knocked out of the contending for the top as well. So
yeah,
if I met any of them in finals, it might be differently, because they might know what's coming at them.
Yeah, and their opponent just if you're facing WTC player, there's a easy solution to win. You just need to sell your soul to Satan and roll triple sixes.
Yeah. So everybody's saying that I made a good sacrifice out of chickens before going to that tournament, because I won starting roll 5 times out of 6. So this is another thing that.
And the starting roll for fully painted helped you at all, or you were playing?
Not really. I mean, I had one opponent that had one model not painted, but right. I rolled 5 and he rolled 2, so it didn't matter that game. So, and I started 5 times out of 6. So I guess starting is very important in this game currently.
Skill, man.
Yeah. So that was the things that helped me. That's why I had luck. But it is said that Gobbers have luck. So maybe it was, a plan from the beginning that I was supposed to become a Gobber king.
Yeah, Barnabas had a plan for you from above the sky or under the sea.
Exactly. So maybe I will shortly talk about the games themselves. So I think 3 of them are recorded. 2 of them are already uploaded, and one of them is Rafa will upload. But I think they were all interesting games, and I will tell whatever I remember out of them.
All right. And how many rounds were there?
6. So this was a 6-round event.
Okay. And what was your first game?
Yeah. So the first game was versus Coven. It was led by Chrissy. And she played Coven in Dark Host, a very typical list with 2 cavalries and 1 battle engine, and I think 1 unit of Band Knights, if I can remember correctly. And I dropped Maylog because in the tournament preparation for 3 weeks I played only Maylog, so the game 1, I didn't feel comfortable starting with Rask, and I wanted to something easy.
Yeah, you didn't want to screw the table from the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. So I tried Malloc. In the retrospect, it might have been also a good, so to say, smoke tactics to play Malloc from the beginning. So everybody thinks Malloc is my favorite because I dropped it into
Your trump.
into Coven, into Dark Host, so into Kriegs. So everybody would think that Malloc is my only drop into Kriegs, but in reality, both my lists can play into Kriegs decently, and I would have a really difficult time picking which one is better.
All right.
They both have their strong suits. So, but the Coven battle I didn't win due to my skill, I would say. I won it because my opponent made a huge mistake. No, my opponent Chrissy made a big mistake because she forgot to feed.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, I was like seconds away of telling her, okay, you can feed, but she didn't ask me to. So it was difficult for me not to say anything. But she said like, oh, I forgot to feed. I probably should have feeded. And she like went on with it. So I said, no, don't propose that. Maybe it wasn't classy thing to do, but it is a tournament, and
I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it. If she asked me to, I probably like 70% would allow her to feed, especially that
it's easy to say it now.
Yeah, it is. But in retrospect, it would only prolong the game because the way she set up the cavalry, she pushed hard to front with her cavalry. So I was anyway in walking range of she was in walking range of my gators, so I could attack the front row of the cavalry. And what I did is I feated and charged the cavalry and killed like both units of cav in one go with my gators. Because thanks to incorporeal, I could have go past
and
the front
row.
row.
And it was Bane Knights or
it
those
was
Soul Hunters?
No, it was Bane Knights.
Okay.
Bane Knight Cav, and I did a lot of attrition. If it went otherwise, so I could only engage or charge the front row, or engage the front row and engage the back row and charge the front row. Then I would have, of course, made much less progress the first round. She would then respond, but the thing is, charging Bane Knight does not kill a gator, because on a fit turn I'm arm 22, and Bane Cav does POW 15. She was spread out. I was spread out, so she was spread out, so she could not apply debuff very well. So
she has any other debuff than Curse of Shadows?
No, so it's just the Curse of Shadows, and
it's for single model.
Yeah, no, maybe it's model unit, or is it?
I don't think so, because you can move through the model and the model cannot make free strikes. If it was for the unit, it would be, I think, a bit broken.
I'm not sure, but even if it would be unit, it would be only one unit and only -2. And then she had Bane Knights, of course, with Dark Shroud, but they were in the middle, so they could not spread out due to terrain. So they could only affect also one of the units. So it would be -2, so it goes down to 20. So on average, charging guy does like 5 to 6 damage, and unfortunately my gators have 8 boxes and stuff.
Unfortunately.
So, unfortunately for my opponent. So probably most of them would survive that charge, and then next round I would retaliate and do the same what I've done in one round. So I've done work of in one round. I done work for two rounds.
Oh, you're right. Curse of Shadows is model unit, and I didn't know that.
It is broken.
Yeah, it is. And you are playing the pit.
The pit too.
And you both
so I.
Yeah. Infantry.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
So
interesting.
I in the end I won on attrition mostly, but when this it was a scenario win at the end. All right, so that was game 1. Then I met for game 2. It was Kruger to In Bones, and I chose Maylok.
And what was the pair for Kruger?
Yeah, I cannot remember. I don't know. Sorry.
All right.
But the funny thing is that I chose
Scenario
Maylok.
was Outlast, right?
Outlast, yeah. I chose Maylok, although in my preparations I played Maylok versus Circle twice. Once of them versus Kruger, and I lost both games. But
right. But Outlast is the worst scenario for Kruger, I think.
Yeah. Yes, I think. And in my preparations, I also learned a bit. Meaning, I knew what I did wrong and why I lost. And I back then I fitted too early, and Kruger things, and he knocks down a lot of things, or can knock down a lot of things.
Yeah.
And makes a lot of difficult terrain, etc. So you cannot get to him or his forces. And I did hold defeat. I lost a bit more models on approach, but thanks to that I hold defeat, I could reach to him and he couldn't stop me. Okay. Because if he wants to engage in fight, he has to be forward. Or not he personally, but his forces. And he cannot stop me with his feet, and TK is for long. So.
Yeah. So, and how did you find Kruger in Szczecin?
I didn't. I played on Vassal.
All right.
And I played versus a very good Canadian player, and I know he's very good. So when I told my friends from my dojo group from my dojo group for minions, they told me. What he done to me, how he touched me in bad places with the Kruger and Bradigus. They told me I should find worse circle players to play against. That's the solution for for that. So
okay.
So definitely the knowing the matchup, any matchup, not only that, but any matchup is a gold. So I played versus Kruger with Maylok, and my opponent did not play versus minions almost at all, and not versus Maylok with that box spam. So that probably influenced his decision during the game, and I won by attrition in the end. It was good. A scenario win, but I by attrition him very hard, so he couldn't contest the scenario.
In Circle Group, Maylok is well known for being a bad matchup for Kruger. Okay. Actually, so I think it's the guy where if he knows how Maylok works, I'm not sure if he would drop Kruger. I don't know what was in his pairing, so
yeah,
it's hard to tell.
I don't remember. Yeah, I used to make pictures of my opponent's pairs, but I got lazy and I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's not like super bad matchup because Kruger has really. Not a lot.
He has a lot of tricks, but I made sure that Maylok is at all times armor 21 to 23 and hiding behind like three models, at least one of them you cannot cast spells on. So it was difficult for him to
assassinate you.
So last round he tried because he lost on clock, but he tried an assassination attempt. It was very low percentage, but it was stressful anyway. But he ran out of time before he could finish.
And what was the scenario score?
I think I scored for scenario win at the end as well. So.
Oh, all right.
So I think it was 7-2 or something like this. I think I've got the card somewhere. I mean the picture of the card from the first four rounds. So I can actually tell you it was. I had 7, yeah, exactly. So I think he had 2 or 3.
Yeah, good job, man.
Yeah,
Congrats.
thanks. Yeah, so then game 3, there is a scrub called Rafa, or nicknamed Cravat, and we were paired in game 3.
Do you know the guy?
Yeah, I know him a bit, yeah. He is a co-host here, so
Have you played
probably people
before?
know him, yeah. We played a bit. So surprisingly, we play not as often because Poznań, those bastards have a very, very good driving meta, a lot of people playing, so he has no trouble finding games, so he doesn't have time for Vassal, and I'm the guy that is in Szczecin. We don't have such a driving meta, and also I could probably find more games if I was available in more reasonable hours, but because I have a family that with young children, so I don't have time during the day. I have time during the work hours usually, but then first time where I can play a game is in the evening. So we don't play too often. We sometimes play on Vassal, and sometimes before on a convention before it starts we play a game. Just So
All right.
So the backstory of that game is I dropped Maillock twice before, and we friendly spoke about that I was playing Maillock all the time, and I told him that I don't know actually what's better, drop Maillock or Rask into creeks, and I don't know what I will drop. And Raffle's reasoning was he likes to list lock himself, and he was reasoning that his Coven in Slaughter Fleet might be a good choice to unlock his list and then play the rest of the day with Scar 1. And so he chose Slaughter Fleet, and I chose Rask. And after we chose the list, I thought, damn it, Maillock would be better, probably, because that infantry in Slaughter Fleet, I can eat it for souls, and Maillock can go crazy with all the fury.
Yeah, but I think Rafa was like in the same spot. Like Scar would be better into Rask.
Yeah, exactly. So we started playing the game, and Rask, I was afraid that I will, clock myself with Rask or get into the paralyze with him. But at some point, I started paralyzing myself with movements, etc., and thinking over. And Rafa said to me, "Come on, Marcin, stop being so blue. Just move already." And I look at the clock and say, "All right, that turn is taking too long." So thanks, Rafa. That was friendly advice. But in the end, he went into analyze paralyze because Rask. I rolled higher for starting, so I started and created such a problem for him with so many counterblast and leavens, etc. So movement shenanigans that he started having the analysis paralysis, and I made an early attrition advantage, and he couldn't even retaliate because he tried to retaliate into the feet of Rask and really committed into that. So committed a lot of resources and didn't do work necessary. So he didn't kill me anything important. Right. He made some damage to my war beasts. They then escaped from Enliven. They didn't die from that, from the 3 strikes. And
did you give him a counter advice for the clock?
Yeah, because I told him a couple of times that he's taking too long. But at that point, when he committed everything and didn't, so I had 6 warbeasts ready to respond to his, overcommitment. He said, "Okay, I give up," because our clock was, he had 20 minutes, I had 43.
Yeah.
And I had him on a platter.
All right.
Like I could just.
So he wanted to save some energy for later.
Exactly. He knew that was the lost battle right there, and he didn't want to continue that slog. Although he fitted, so I would go into his feet, but our lines were clashed, so his feet had no matter actually. So and he forgot to fit, but he asked me, "Can I?" And I said, "Yeah, no problem."
So good advice is to ask your opponents.
Yeah, I mean,
I saw so many games of Wormwood when people were
forget to feed.
Forget to feed, but they were playing like feed was there, you know.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it is. When we go to game 5, I will talk about mistakes and take backs a bit. It is always a thing you can ask. I mean, you shouldn't expect that somebody will allow you to take back, but you can always ask. It doesn't cost you anything, and if it's between friends, then there is a high probability that it will be allowed.
Really,
if it's,
I feel like it's quite opposite.
Oh well. Well, at that point, when our lines were clashed, it didn't really matter. If he fitted, I couldn't charge his back lines. But
so if it mattered, you wouldn't allow him, right?
I might have not allowed him, but but it didn't. So
this is how it works
wait a
with
minute.
friends.
No. Okay. Now I remember. I misremember this. No, he fitted round before, and I made the early advantage by killing his. So he fitted first, and I killed his Warjack, just like that, under his feet, and retreated into safety with Enliven Warbeast. And he tried to retaliate and couldn't. So his feet was gone. Sorry, I misremembered that.
All right.
So I allowed him to fit actually when it mattered, because I couldn't charge more of my Warbeast into his lines. So that's how it works between friends.
All right.
So anyway, that was my warm up with Rask. Rafał gave up, and I was actually happy because Rask is pretty squishy sometimes, and I try to camp with him more, but how they call the Coven has a way to reach out very deep with the arc nodes, and can try always unlikely, but like 5 or 10% of assassination can always happen.
Yeah, move through your models with Curse of Shadows.
Exactly. So this is something you cannot
ignore.
Always ignore. So if he's giving up, I'll taking that, because first it's 1 hour earlier we finished, so we can rest up before next game. And it was the game 3, so game 4 is always the most tiring, so you need to be a bit rested. And the second thing is that you can always die to assassination. So there's that. So then game 4 with a winning streak, and I had my casters both unlocked, and I can have 3 choices, and I get Grimkin.
All right. What was the pair?
Yeah, the pair was, I remember, the Child and the Dreamer, and I really didn't want to get the Child, because Child is
hard to assassinate.
Very hard to assassinate, yeah. Exactly. And like 30% of my game is threatening assassination. It's not the assassination itself, although I very like to do it, but the most important thing, or not me, but part of the plan is to threat the assassination. So the enemy caster has to be afraid, be a bit back, camp more, so it doesn't do so much work. And this usually works, but I was afraid that it will not work against the child, yeah. Because I tried to assassinate her once and it didn't come out as I was expecting. So, but to my luck, my opponent chose Dreamer. Dreamer has a lot of tricks, but I think my beast out-threat her.
And do you have Mist Speaker in your list?
Yes, I
do. So her incorporeal don't matter that much.
No, not really. So how the game went, my opponent, I deployed first centrally as I usually do, and my opponent made a very smart move. He put all of his warbeasts on one of the flanks, and we played breakdown. So that was two circles and the square zones, and he noticed that I don't have any units. So he knew I cannot put Rask on the right
Circle.
on the right zone that was abandoned. I have to move Rask with his warbeasts. So he knew although he left that zone empty, I will not score it. So, and I don't have units, so I have to, get into the left zone probably to score the circle. And then Rask is in danger. So he knew the scenario won't be so
And was
important.
there a wall on his side?
There was.
Yeah.
So he could, not in the zone, but just behind it. But he can also try, get in Corpolia and then score a zone, for example, right? But so I had to run everything to the left because that was where the fight was going on. So I was not positioned perfectly. Luckily, the Roche and Brian, they are a very fast pair, so they made the most important to position correctly. So they made to the position I wanted to, and my opponent then judged my threat rangers, asked some, and positioned himself in the way that made kind of fort out of his war beasts. But because I sometimes sacrifice my pig if I have to get early attrition advantage, I did it this time. I buffed my Brian and killed his skin and mones.
Really?
Because killing them very early is pretty easy without the relatively easy compared to
corpses.
Without the corpses, yeah. So he had only one corpse.
And he had those pumpkin head guys? Dreadrots?
Yeah, he had a unit. Yes, he had.
So he could screen with them. Because I asked you about the wall because Grimkin players like to brick up, and if your threat ranges are shorter than your opponent, and I expect Grimkins to have shorter threat ranges than Rask, your plan is usually how you take the alpha and retaliate, not how you do the alpha. So losing skin and bones early is quite surprising and quite lucky for you, because now he lost a lot of hitting power.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I actually forgot that I didn't use pig for that. I used my snake for that. But it doesn't matter. I killed Skin and Mouse and Rattler. So the snake killed those two, retreated a bit with overtakes, and was under the feet of Rask. So I had most of my army positioned to do the alpha next round, and the only thing he could get to was the snake, and he couldn't charge it. He could only walk to it. It was of course enough for him to kill the snake, so the snake died anyway. But he tried to swarm the zone with the small dice, as you say, with the
Dreadrots.
What they called Dreadrots, and gremlin swarms to cover his war beasts. But what I have done is I gave primal to my octopus and guidance, so she could get magical weapons. And with her initials, she killed 3 of gremlin swarms, and then she pulled 1 skin and bones closer to my lines. And in one round, I killed everything except.
My question is, where are the Arcanas?
Yeah, exactly right. He used all fall down this round, but I didn't care.
Yeah, it was too late.
I don't care if I'm lying down. If you're dead. So he could last round I only used my snake, and he didn't use all four down because he couldn't knock down the snake, and he knew if he uses it, I will not attack with anything that be knocked down. So he hold that, and he used it now, but I didn't care. I just proceeded killing. He was only left with his caster, some small remnants of something. I don't remember even what he was left.
What arcanas did
only
you
one.
choose? I expect to sacrifice and maybe the minus
Yes,
two
that
speed.
was-
It would be
No,
Ill Omens, right,
I
for-
think it was
for
Ill Omens
retaliation.
and sacrifice.
and
Yeah.
he used only all fall down, right?
Yeah, he used only all fall down because that game was very
Right.
short. So
You crushed it.
So I crushed him. I killed. So he only was left with, I think, one dog in the right zone that he was trying to contest the middle zone as well with later on, or just secure the zone for his single dreadrod that was running up there to score. So he had one dreadrod, one dog, and a cage rager, and his battle engine on two
Alright.
boxes.
And did he try
Because
assassination?
Brian, yes, he did. He tried assassination.
So
with
he
his
ran
caster.
Cage Rager to
He ran. No, he ran his caster moved his caster forward and tried assassinating Prask, but it didn't
Abyssal
go
Gate.
well, so.
It doesn't work on the Warcasters.
Yeah, I know, but I don't. I think he tried to take over one of my lessers and hit Rask in the back.
All right.
Yeah. So with the Dreamer in reach of my heavies, I easily killed the Dreamer, and that was the game.
Well done.
So it was assassination, but actually won by attrition. So.
Turn 2.
But yeah.
Really?
I've turned 3 actually. Yeah.
No, I don't think you won this game turn 2.
No, that was turn 3. Turn 1 I ran everything. Turn 2 I killed like 2
With a
orbites,
snake, and
turn
then
3 with a snake. Turn 3 I did the attrition, and turn 4 I killed the Dreamer. So turn 4 it
All
was.
right.
Or close to that. So then the day was over, and we knew that next day we'll be playing 2 games because there were 4 players undefeated so far, and they made a pair drawing of the pairs, and my opponent was Legion. So I was playing Legion, and on the other semi-final tables there was 2 Kriegs players. So I knew if I win, I will be playing.
It's nice
again.
They dropped Kriegs against Kriegs so they could kill themselves, and and left you.
Exactly. They didn't want to have final of Kriegs on Kriegs probably, or maybe it was a blind luck. I don't know. But what my opponent had a pair of Lilith 3 and Abby 2, and
How do you feel
didn't know which one of them
about
is.
Lilith 3 into?
I hate her. I really hate her.
But I asked you what do you
she's
expect, and you said you expect Abby 2. You didn't tell me back then that his pair is Lilith 3. I would expect Lilith 3 to be honest.
Yeah, me too. Actually, because I forgot about that. I saw there was a few Legion players, and I didn't know which one of them it is. I knew only his name, and I didn't know his lists. And but I knew he has AB2 because I saw him playing the AB2 on stream before. So I knew he has AB2. I didn't know what he has else. And then when there came pairing day and or the game day, and we coming to the table, and I'm seeing, oh god damn it!
What's your threat range? 94.
It's all over the place. Wherever you hide, I can find you. So I need a big building to hide behind. But surprisingly, my opponent chose AB2. I think that's his go-to caster, his favorite list probably. And I think I can play around AB2 ability
Alpha
of
Hunter.
getting Alpha Hunter. If I keep all the weak stuff behind, she will not risk going into me because she'll die. And if I don't provide him with some support that he can kill his Arknauts on approach.
Your threat ranges are longer, right?
Then my threat ranges are longer, but not if he uses Alpha Hunter and Feed, then he out threats me by a fair margin.
Yeah.
So the problem is.
So what was the scenario?
And the scenario was Outlast again.
Like,
so I think
why?
Again they didn't want. They didn't. I think they didn't want to play spread the net. That's my suspicion.
Right.
But it was.
That's
Outlast
surprising because it's the most liked scenario according to the pool that Privateer Press did.
Yeah, that's pool of Privateer Press, but not pool of how the players like it. I don't know.
I agree.
So from the beginning, it was a very tense game. So we know we are in semifinals. So I was very concentrated, as it will turn out not enough. My opponent was probably very aware of my threat ranges and didn't want to give me anything or give me too much. So we played a very cagey game, and I started, so I took a very good position forward outside of his threat ranges. But if he moves at all, I can get to him with something. So he keeps Abby on full camp almost and puts her a bit forward. Hi guys, sorry we had a small software malfunction, and due to the scheduling, the other guys could not make it to finish the podcast. They are preparing for the Masters tournament in Krakow, so I will be finishing the last two games alone. So as I was saying, I started on the AB2 matchup, and I chose to go first, and all of my war beasts run forward, just minding the threat of Proteus, who is treading 16 inches. So my Brian hid behind the forest, so he could not be reached and charged, and that was my turn one. So my opponent very carefully placed his war beast. He only put Neraf in my threat range and Abby on full camp. So I knew that Brian, although he is awesome, he is not able to take on Abby on full camp, but he probably can kill Neraf, and I matched it out. If he kills Neraf and overtakes, I just need a little bit luck to kill a Seraph as well. And I decided it is worth taking the risk, because if I kill Seraph, then the game is in my favor, because without that additional 2-inch threat extension, if I keep him out of Alpha Hunter range, I'm actually I have larger threats than he has. So Brian goes in, and being a great pick he kills the Neraf, then overtakes and kills the Seraph as well. So that's a huge blow to him, because losing 2 war beasts, now I have 6 war beasts, actually 5 because Brian will die, but 5 war beasts to his 3, and I'm out-treating him, so all seems to be great. So next round he kills Brian. He tries to do some damage, but it is unlikely for him to, because my war beasts are pretty far away, but still he goes in and with Neraf that was on the other flank, and tries to kill my Snapjaw. And Snapjaw was under Enliven, so I was pretty sure he will survive that, even with the free strike from Enliven. But there is where I make my first mistake. So instead of moving Snapjaw his full movement, I only move him 3 inches, I think, or just below 3 inches. So he has a better position to attack his Warbeast next turn, and I moved him out of range of Neraf. So I get after the attack, I get a free strike, and he beats back into me. And the way that judges ruled it, he can beat back toward me, even though the attack was done with a free strike. So again, because Ebby defeated this round, he is in range of Snapjaw, and Snapjaw dies. So I lose a Warbeast in the moment where I shouldn't have lost that Warbeast. I should have retreated it outside of possibility of him of beatbacking, and then Snapjaw would leave. So now I'm still up. I lose Brian as suspected, and I lose Snapjaw. So I have 4 Warbeasts and he has 3. And he sprints away with his Neraf and positions his Proteus a bit forward behind the wood, and positions his Carnivian far back, so he has a piece that can support Proteus later on. So losing Snapjaw under Rusk's feet hurt a bit, but I come up with a plan that I will take down his Proteus. So I want to trample my and I want to take Proteus without losing or investing too far, so I cannot be charged by Carnivian. So the plan is I trample my Octopus and pull Proteus in, and then my Snake finishes him off, fully buffed Snake with POW 22. And this is where my first or second huge mistake happens. After I trample my Octopus in, I make a pull attack with Tentacle. It turns out that he has Bracer, so he cannot be pushed at all. So I just committed my first Warbeast and done some minimal damage to Proteus. So now I either kill Proteus or I'm in big trouble. So I have a Snake in charge range. So I buff the Snake full to maximum, and I charge the Snake in. So, and this is mistake number 3, because I forgot to move in my controller into range. That so the Snake after charging will be out of control, so I cannot force him. So I already was angry at myself after losing Snapjaw. Then after trampling the Octopus, I tripped a bit, and after charging out Snake, I completely flipped, so to say. I was pretty sure that the game is over now, and there's nothing I can do. So the Snake makes his charge attack, does some damage to Proteus, and I continue on really like my head hurting from the adrenaline pumping. I try to calm down, and I make attack on Neraf, shooting him, and of course I forget that there are 3 shield guards around him, so he shield guards the shot from the turtle to one of the pigs, shield guard pigs, and I don't even kill her with that shot. So the situation was desperate. I just shuffle my other forces and then switch the clock and sit down and try to think what to do. Luckily or unluckily for me, he leaves octopus but octopus and snake were living. Unfortunately, Proteus has animus that if he's in base to base with enemy, he cannot move. So he gets starts that animus, puts himself in base to base with octopus and snake, and proceeds killing octopus. His octopus is left swamp horror is left on 2 boxes. And he tries to kill the snake. It's not as easy as he would think. So he does some damage, then Carnivian charges in and finishes off the snake. So there is that. And Neraf charges my turtle. Turtle is left on some boxes. Then the pigs charge in, trying to finish him off. And before that, he moved Abby, she cast some spells, and she stayed on 2 camp, of course outside charge range of any of my war beasts, but my Rustler had admonition on him. So when he charged the first begin, she found herself in admonition range of Rustler, so Rustler walks up. So at this point, the most of his army is already activated. So the pigs fail to finish off the turtle, but this is it doesn't matter really. He runs some infantry in front of Abby to block charge lane from Wrestler, and he switches the clock to me. So I have 10 minutes to plan this assassination. I just need to kill 1 infantry model in front of Abby, and I have 2 shooters. First is Roche, who has 2 shots, and then second is Rask. So I'm pretty sure I can make it. So Roche walks up, shoots, and first boosted shot kills I think it was his Arknote, Spell Slave, or whatever. So the charge lane is free. Then I buff my Rustler to the maximum, so he gets Primal, he gets Fury, and he gets Shadow Walk, so he cannot be freeze struck even if he's coming near Proteus, because if Proteus hit him, he could pull him in. So fully buffed Rustler, and I move Rask, of course, in range of control, so I don't do the same mistake twice. And I charge in with a Rustler to Abby. She's on 2 camp, I have 7 attacks, and I need 7s to hit her. And I calculate that it's better for me to try to hard roll those 7s, because I need 4 attacks to hit. If I boost on all 3 initial attacks, I still am at risk of so he transfers 2 and 1 of them does not kill, so I have 1 attack at the end that I need to hit without boosting. So just buy and try to kill her. So I decide that I will be hard rolling. So the long story short, out of 7 attacks, I hit 4, and 2 attacks of POW 22 kill Abby. And by mistake of my opponent, I win this game, although I made so many mistakes that I theoretically should have lost. So the last game was versus Krix, and I chose again Rask, and he chose Scar 1. He had, I think he had a Coven with Satex's Raiders, and Maylog just kills them, so his reasoning was he doesn't stand a chance with Satex's Raiders versus Maylog, and Scar has a game versus both Maylog and Rask, so he chose Scar. So I roll again, starting roll, and push myself hard forward. I just put Brine behind the building that was more or less in the middle, in the way that he cannot be reached by any of the stalkers that are nearby. And the rest of the war beasts the same, they cannot be charged by anything and they are pretty far forward. And I end my turn. My opponent then proceeds to advancing his army. He doesn't feed yet and puts stalkers behind the same building that Brian is hiding behind. So my first idea is maybe I can try to get to Scar, but the distances don't work out. So the second idea is there are two stalkers hiding behind the building, and behind them there is cavalry. So if I sacrifice Brian to charge over the stalker and over the building to the cavalry, kill the cavalry and overtake to the back of the stalkers with primal, I should be able to kill both stalkers, and that's a great trade. So I proceed with the plan. I buff fully Brian, and I give him ghostly so he can charge through the building partly, and I also put a Veil of Mist on the one stalker so I can charge over the stalker. And in the end I get both stalkers, I kill both stalkers, I kill 3 cavalry models and retreat. And on the same flank my splitter kills 1 additional cavalry model. So on that flank the only thing that stays out there is 1 battle engine and 1 cavalry guy. And Brian has Enliven. So if something gets into him, he can further back up. And thanks to overtake, he got back into the Rask's feet, because of course this is Rask's feet turn. So I have feated and done some damage. So now it's my opponent's turn, and my opponent charges the calf guy into Brian, and hits him, damages him, and then Brian does the retaliatory strike, killing him, and uses Enliven to get back. So this was a great feat on a pig's part, because he's taken down so far 4 calf models and 2 stalkers. So this is glorious day for him anyway. But I should have measured better, because the way I moved back and placed Brian was that he can reach me with his 3rd stalker. In total he had 4 stalkers, and of course I could not get out of battle engine range. So this turn Scar fits. She cuts very conservatively. She doesn't want to be in risk of being assassinated, so I think she fits on herself both battle engines and 1 stalker maybe, and 1 calf guy that charged Brian. So the stalker gets into Brian, kills him unfortunately, but what can we do? So and he positions with his battle engine aggressively, but outside of range of most of my war beasts. So next round, what I do is I just kill his stalker and put Enliven on Snapjaw and buff him fully, so he goes in and kills the stalker and then overtakes back a bit, and I just position and I contest the snare with Gobber chef and position the way that I can kill more stuff. Next turn I also use a spray from Snake to kill on the other flank, to kill 1 calf guy, and Rask hides the snake behind the cloud so he cannot be charged directly. So my opponent next round runs his cavalry, so 1 of the calf models goes behind the Snapjaw, so Snapjaw cannot enliven away, and he charges his battle engine and tries to kill Snapjaw, but The battle engine fails because without buffs from defeat, it's not so easy anymore. So the Snapjaw lives, and I position my Rustler thanks to admonition in a better way, so I can charge a bit forward. And my opponent at that point gives up because so far he hasn't done too much work. I only lost my one war beast this round, and next round I will just take one of his battle engines, and probably I can get into his unit or other unit of cavalry with fully buffed swamp horror, and probably kill a few of them. So he will just stay with one or two cav models and battle engine and stalker. So the long game doesn't look very promising, and I take his surrender because well, I am also of opinion that at that point I'm very forward on attrition and scenario, so I don't want to risk some assassination angle on Rask, or that I will make some mistakes and lose. So that was the end of the tournament. Right, guys, thanks for listening. That will be all for today. I will not be continuing with the topic. I will wait for the other guys from the Masters. And thanks for listening, and good luck everybody at Masters in Krakow. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Boxcars. I hope you liked it. See you soon.
So, have you been playing lately a lot?
No, I wasn't playing at all.
Oh no.
I couldn't find anyone to play, and it's going to be the first Masters that I'm going to be unprepared totally.
Okay. Was it you yesterday evening when we were
Yes.
disconnecting? I just saw that you jumped in.
Yeah.
So were you trying to find somebody to play on Vassal, or?
Kinda. I'm desperate because I cannot find anyone to play with me. So I figured I should find my luck on a Vassal. But
lately,
every time I go there, I just spend like 2 minutes looking at this interface, and
it is ugly.
It's
my
ugly.
wife, when she looks at it, it says it's a game from 90s or what?
Actually, I kind of liked 90s games like Scourge, Worms 1, and everything like Heroes 3. And if this looks like one, I would play it. But it looks even worse.
Yeah, I think this game is from 2000 something. Yeah. Well, I'm writing now article about playing on Vassal. So maybe if I finish writing it and you read it, maybe it will motivate you to play.
Yeah, but, how long did it took you to learn the interface?
Well, it took me maybe a week, but I had a friend that was tutoring me. He was living in UK. He was from Szczecin Meta. He was living in UK and playing War Machine exclusively on Vassal because he left his models in Poland.
All right.
So we played almost every day a game, and he learned me everything how to. And then Vassal improved over the engine, had one upgrade I think, and the module for War Machine is now much better than it was. So
before, and you are using this beta 5.0?
Yes, beta 5.0. Yeah, it's very
okay. And is there a devclock option?
No, you cannot. I mean, you can try play deathclock, but deathclock will depend on how you or your opponent are skilled in Vassal engine, not really in War Machine. So
yeah, that's why I'm asking, because I would lose every game turn one.
No, nobody plays on Vassal with deathclock, so that's out. So that win condition is not possible. So you only play for testing how the list works and etc.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to give my best to play a game there tomorrow, because if I won't play there tomorrow, I will be totally unprepared for math. Like I have 3 games with Bradigos by far, so not a lot.
Between Pruszków Masters and Masters in Berlin, I played only Mailog. I didn't touch Rask once.
But you had few games, so
I had few games so I didn't come completely unprepared. But I was afraid to play Rask, literally afraid, because I know how he is demanding. So I was afraid to start it. So, but
3 days without War Machine, and I forget like basic stuff, like how much inches you deploy, or how do you attack, how many dices do I roll.
Maybe it's not that bad, but usually when we are going to a con, for example, and we arrive a day earlier, then we try to play a game evening before.
All right.
Doesn't matter what the outcome is or whatever will happen. We just move models around, so you get the feeling of moving models, measuring, etc., because it's coming back very fast. It's like you don't ride a bike for 3 years, then you jump on the bike. It's awkward for a second, and then it's back. So if you want, probably there is a lot of people in Krakow day before. Just catch someone, play a game. So
I already called Diet to play a game with me day before, and we are going to. So but I feel like a day before is just too late.
It's too late to make proper preparations, but it's not too late for just remind yourself how to play a caster, right?
Yeah, but I like I told you, I don't know how to play a caster. I mean, I have had 3 games.
So we have a perfect topic today. The second topic, the tournament masters preparations. We'll see how the outcome is if you go in unprepared versus going in prepared.
Yeah.
Because maybe luck is also a big part of.
I know. I'm all about luck. And I hope the outcome will be the same like usual. I will meet Rafał in finals, and I'm going to kick his ass.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing that you meet in. Maybe none of you will meet in finals. Maybe you meet before.
No chance. If we meet before, I'm going to, I don't know, go to tournament organizer and say I want to leave the best for
the final.
Yeah, for the finals. Like with dinner, I always keep the meat for last.
For last. Okay. Shall we start slowly?
Sure.
Okay.